In the first 6 months of your relationship, you are dating one another's representative. I'm dating your representative, you're dating my representative. You really don't know me. There's this really messy Facebook group that I'm a part of. No, it's not my own because we don't do mess. And they were talking about this woman had found out that her partner got somebody else pregnant. And they had a full other life aside from her. She was only a few months along, and I was reading the comments. And the lady was talking about how they fell in love. It was love at first sight. You know, the typical gaslighting story. She met his family. He said, I love you. And he started to need her. Y'all know where this is going. She ends up knocked up. She finds out about his other family. Bada bing, bada boom. And I'm reading the comments, and a lot of people are saying, girl, why didn't you go and handle that? Why didn't you go to the clinic? Like, why didn't depending on where, listen, this is not going to be a game of pro-life versus not pro-life, but this is just where we are. So a lot of people in the comments were like, girl, why did you move so fast? And I want to talk about that. Why we move so fast in our relationships and get ourselves caught up. And before we know it, we're here. When my husband and I were going through premarital counseling, one of the questions that the counselor posed at us, and at that point we had been dating about a year and a half. So the masks were off. We knew what it was going to be, and we knew what issues we needed to tackle. The one thing that he did, and it felt offensive and abrasive, and I remember getting defensive when he asked this question. He was like, well, you said you fell in love and you guys knew within the first couple of months. He was like, how do you know? And I'm like, because I said so. But he went on to explain that in the first 6 months of your relationship, you are dating one another's representative. I'm dating your representative, you're dating my representative. You really don't know me. You know me when I put on a good front, when my hair is done. You've not seen me through sickness, health, having to travel. We've not had major fallouts and arguments. And in this 6 months, and I know you're different. And come on now. Anyway, he made a mention that he was like, in the first 6 months of your relationship, you're dating one another's representatives. And I'm like, no, I showed him what it really was. In 6 months, half of a calendar year, you've not really had a chance to see how a person handles some of the normal things that life throws at us. You've not. It's been a short amount of time, and it's cute, and you might have seen the tip of the iceberg, but you haven't. So what happens after that first 6 months when we fell in love with each other's representatives? And the reason we should take it slow, we should all just slow down, is because, yes, you are dating the representative. Grandma always said, if you haven't seen a person in all 4 seasons, do you truly know them? I mean, hell, a lot of us don't even know ourselves. At the end, or somewhere within that 6 months, what a lot of us are doing is we are falling in love and making life-altering, lifelong decisions and actions with this person. We're not using protection. We're getting pregnant. We're saying I love you. We're merging households with a representative. What happens in the next 6 months of the relationship is you are in the definition stage. You're actually defining what the relationship looks like. And if you've done things in a decent and proper order, because it's about doing things in a decent and proper order, then at the end of the first 6 months, you can be like, okay, the masks are starting to come off. I don't really like who you are. But you've not committed so much. You're not pregnant. You're not going raw. You're not shacking up. Like, you're not doing any of these things. So it's easier for you to say, hey, this isn't really working out. You're not who I thought you were. And apparently I'm not who you thought I was. So we can amicably split. But a lot of us, because we've gone in so deep and created these ties with this literal stranger, we have to figure out how to work it out. And so now in this next 6 months of what should be the definition stage, meaning, cool, the first 6 months, we're dating each other's representative, the masks start to come off. And we start to see what's real. We start to see patterns and habits. We start to see those things that may not have necessarily been true, or they had not been very forthcoming about. We start to see them show up in their everyday lives because, again, the representative is gone. This is the real thing now. So now the masks are off, and you have to define. Now we're in the actual definition stage of what this relationship means. We get to define what we are to each other, what we want to be, what this relationship is called, what our actual roles and responsibilities are. But we get it all mishmashed and messed up when we start to define super early, because you're defining something with a person's representative, you're defining something with their mask. And so when I was reading all these messages in the thread on Facebook, and the reason that this lady was like, yeah, I'm stuck, is she sat and made a life altering, lifelong connection with that person's representative. And now the relationship is being defined. She's realizing that she was duped. And it happens to a lot of us. This is your message. This is the knock in the head, maybe even, for you to slow it down. If it's meant to be, I promise you they're not going anywhere. I know you live, breathe, and think about them all the time, but just give it some more time. Slow it down and give it some more time. Take your time. And also, here's another thing. And one thing I wanted to comment to this lady so bad was, girl, now that you know that he's not going to be there, why are you continuing this man's legacy? Some of these men's legacies need to die off with them. Their family line, their genealogy, their mindset, their last name, it needs to stop. It needs to stop. Their bloodline should go when they go. I think I'm going to put a pin in this, and I'll talk about this on the next segment. Look at me doing all this talking, and I didn't even introduce myself. My name is Naja Hall. I am the host of I Know I'm Crazy with Naja Hall. I've been kind of on a 2-year sabbatical from the podcast. The numbers are really still skyrocketing, and by popular demand, we are coming back. This is kind of my version of me getting myself ready to be back in front of the camera and knocking off some of the dust and letting you guys know that I Know I'm Crazy with Naja Hall is making a comeback. And I cannot wait to sit down with all of you.